Hello my friends, 3KO Games here. We're going to take a look at the Fated Summon, which refreshed just a day or two ago. I am late to the party on this video, I know. Lots of other great content creators already created a video here. And I guess the good news is we have mostly agreed on who's really good to take here. So I feel like there are a couple of good options for anybody at kind of whatever level you're in. So if you are, cheap or free to play, you're probably going to get a couple of these heroes over the next 6 months. If you have 100 summons that have not landed you a 5-star, you will be able to choose one of these as a consolation prize. And for the most part, yes, they are a consolation prize. They are not the top meta heroes. You're just never going to get that from Fated Summons. But as I said, there are a couple that I still find useful. So even if you are just starting out in the game, well, if you're really just starting out, maybe any hero on this 5-star list would be better than you don't have any 5 stars in blue or whatever, right? But if you're a little further on, but you're not pulling a whole lot, you might be able to get over the next 6 months, 2 of these heroes anyway. And I will go through this list, letting you know who I suggest above everybody else. Also, talking about, because some people have heroes or costumes available, which ones are available right now. Visiting Outfitter is happening in the next couple of days, so that's nice. Also, with an older hero like this, it's nice to be able to take advantage of Hero Coach and not spend the materials. Just say, oh, I'll pick this one up, and boom, they're ready right now. So we'll look at these heroes in all those ways. First, a quick spin through all these heroes. Elizabeth, one of the original Fiend makers, was really, really vicious when she first came out in the Underwild family. 175% damage to all enemies, and then everybody gets a Fiend that attacks with 43% attack every turn. Sticks around until it is absorbed healing equal to 28% of the target's max health. 24% mana generation down as long as you have that Fiend. And that can be really annoying. For duration of the first 3 buffs this character receives from special skills is increased by 1 turn. That's interesting. Now, don't be misled. They will show you what the costume bonus is. But on the bottom of this card, if there is no arrow to go left or right, you are not, next to the OK button, you are not getting this costume. That is not included in the Fated Summon. So don't be misled by this attack bonus showing, attack, defense, and health bonus showing some pretty good stats. Stats are pretty old on Elizabeth. All right, Congalach was a really great slow hero hitting everybody for a whopping hit. 310% damage to 5 random enemies. Each hit gives the target 9% attack down. He also has a costume bonus, but you cannot get that costume from Fated Summons. He's all right. When he first came out, that was huge. Now, even if the stats were totally relevant, 310% damage to 5 random enemies is not that impressive for a slow speed special. Russula, very fast speed, hits 1, then goes into hiding. So I guess you're protecting her. They can't get new status effects or stacks. All received damage is reduced by 30%. So that doesn't make any sense. Like, it should be hiding and then 0 received damage or something. And then they deal some damage to all enemies who use special skills while the caster was hiding. It's weird and it's not that good. I don't recommend. Professor Lidenbrock was a great healer for a whole lot of time. But unfortunately, these fixed number boosters over time just get so low. you get a good cleanse. Priority cleanse is nice, but then boosts health of all allies by 200. That's nothing. That's what you get from like a 3-star dragon. That's just absolutely nothing. Then over the next 4 turns, you regenerate some more boosted health, but it's still very low. Effect duration is reset if the target receives status ailments. So I guess that's something. But Professor Lidenbrock by herself, just not a good hero anymore. Dr. Moreau, a pretty good Underwild family hero with hitting 3 for 270% damage, and then giving 35% accuracy down to 3. If the target is healed, they get more accuracy down. Not a bad hero, shows costume bonus, but you do not get said costume. Next row is all heroes of the month. Honestly, Neema, her thing was that everybody got a fiend, hit all. When they have a fiend, they can't get taunt. So if you are dealing with a lot of taunt heroes, she could still be an interesting hero, except I feel like just a good dispel or buff prevent, if you have it in another hero, is going to be stronger. Her attack also bypasses the taunt and will still hit everybody. So that's something. Other than that, she's not great. Leadria is an interesting hero because those minions are pretty beefy. 30% HP, and as long as they have minions, they're going to heal every turn. Also, all allies get an additional special skill damage, and even more from nature allies. So not a bad hero of the month for being, 2.5 years old at this point. Gladius, fast speed, never misses its target. Hits 1, the target gets a mark of dodge. Whenever a marked target dodges, they gain a stack, increasing all damage the target receives by 5%. That's very niche, and you don't want your target to dodge. Can you just dispel the dodge or bypass it? Yeah, it's going to take a long time for that mark of dodge to rack up with a high enough damage stack to make any difference. Gladius, not a fan. Aviana, I was not originally a fan of this hero of the month. I mean, obviously, stats are very old by this point. But we do get 50% critical chance up for 4 turns. That's something. We also do get immunity to new status effect buffs for 4 turns for the target and nearby enemies. Both of those skills can be still useful. Buff immunity to the enemy team and critical chance up to you. So for that reason, I think she's still a viable option, knowing that she's just a hero of the month, and her stats aren't going to compete with who's out there now. Sir Casmir was never a viable hero of the month, I don't think. Cleanses from 3, slow speed, so that sucks. For the next 5 turns, its character has a 55% chance to deal 600% damage to a random enemy after an enemy casts their special skill. There's just too much gambling there. Are you actually going to fire that special skill? And then 45% of the time it doesn't do anything. Reflects status ailments and negative stacks. That's something. Also, dark allies can get dodge. So Sir Casmir, probably not. This next 2 rows are where you might find some heroes that are worthwhile. Daemon, who is just available in Soul Exchange for 20 souls, and is now here for you for free, just knowing that you did 100 summons at some point. Very fast speed, priority dispel from 1, blocks talent skill activation from that 1, for 3 turns. So you can't get a thorn minion, you can't revive if you are a fighter, those kinds of things. 485% damage to the target is not huge, but the damage is not what matters here. What matters is that the target cannot cast any new status effects on enemies or allies for 3 turns. This special skill will be relevant always, because there will always be some enemy whose buff you don't want them to get, or whose ailment you don't want to get on your team. People have used Daemon, especially because of the very fast speed, against Bernadette, because when you hit Bernadette with Daemon, she can hit you for that little bit of damage, but she can't dispel, and she can't do her painting thing. So that's pretty great. Daemon is a wonderful choice for free in Fated Summons. Teddy is like the original sleep hero. Put the whole team to sleep, and they receive 70% increased damage while sleeping. Damage up front first, and then everybody regenerates a bunch of HP, 1200 HP over 4 turns. That's not bad. The sleep mechanic at this point was a little clumsy because even a tile damage, even like one off-color tile getting 1 HP damage is going to wake them up anyway. So that's the downfall there. Any kind of damage like that will wake them up immediately. Minions and fiends, I believe, yes, will not wake them up. So you have to be very careful about where you actually hit after those targets are asleep. Quinton is a very old hero, 822 team power before emblems and limit breaks. I was really hoping that this guy would get a costume, because the special skill here is timeless. Fast speed hit 1, that's fine. That's not what matters. For 4 turns, the target receives 100% of all damage dealt to their allies. Basically, if you can fire Quinton off before he dies, you're going to wipe out 1 target. Because if you can follow up over the next turn with another damage-dealing special skill, they're going to take the damage from every single one of those people that are hit and pretty much just wipe them out. Quinton, we saw that with, there was a red hero clash of knights. A Torben did something similar to that. We also have a new Season of Love hero that's going to do that to the edges. That skill is really, really great. So, in a pinch, Quinton could still work. It's just that the stats are so super low. Wolfgang, 250% damage to all enemies. Reduces damage to himself, and then everybody regenerates a little boosted health. To me, it's not enough of anything here to really make a difference. What is interesting, I guess, is that there is a costume available. You don't get it in Fated Summons, but if you already have this hero and their costume, I don't know, do you like it enough to get, level up a second copy? Maybe. With the costume, this guy can still be relevant because his stats will be very, very high. I just don't love his special skill, even with the good stats. Cecilia came from the Stag family. I pulled her and never finished leveling her up. But dodge is always a useful skill. Fast speed, gonna give 240% damage to all enemies, and then all allies get 45% chance to dodge for 3 turns. Each dodge boosts by 250 health. That skill is always useful, even though her stats are pretty low. So Cecilia, not a horrible choice in Fated Summons if you are looking for a dodge hero, somebody to help out the survivability of the rest of your team. Now, This last row is interesting. We have some owls, we have some magic family. You can see I already took my fated summon choice. So let's talk about Aeron, or Aeron, or whatever. One of the newer owls attacks one with a big Moonrise Strike. 40% more damage if the target is of the holy element, and the target never misses its attacks. The big thing here is fast speed, shifting mindless attack on a random ally when mana is full at the start of a turn for 4 turns. Plus all enemies get 35% defense down for 4 turns. He's got a Fiend Resist, which makes it relevant right now against all the vegetables, and we'll be seeing more of those pretty soon. And the Owl passive is pretty interesting, where we do have several heroes giving mana to their allies. This guy's going to say, no, I'm going to take 80% of that away. So Aeron is a very good hero. Stats are obviously, at full double limit break here, max power 1386. Not the highest in the game by any stretch. But mindless attack is a timeless skill. Shutting down one enemy is a timeless skill, and it's a shifting mindless attack, so it's going to pop over to one other random enemy too. So Aeron, also a good choice. Reelius may have been the first average speed, or non-slow speed anyway, reviver, which was a big thing as Revive was still kind of new and revolutionary in this game. Reelius is going to heal first 30%, and then each defeated ally has a 40% chance to revive with 30% HP. If those 2 bullet points were switched, Reelius would be excellent. Reelius is still pretty good. They get a ward that reduces incoming special skill damage by up to 800, which is not much anymore. I feel like some of the, even like Dular Fuller's ward or something like that is like 1200, and not up to, but that's just what you get. This is up to, so that means without adding growth or wither, it's going to be 400, which is not a lot. An additional 30% ward if the attacker is of the holy element. But Reelius, a reviver can always be useful. If you don't have a reviver, especially if the only one you have is, Mother North or something like that, a much faster reviver here could be useful on your team. Let's finish this list here with blue wizard Ulius, who just got a costume. The costume bonus is very good, and the costume is actually very good too. I liked this hero to a point. It's a little bit niche. We get, of course, the 2 different levels based on your mana charge. First mana charge is a minion with pretty low HP and attack, unfortunately. And I think they buffed that pretty well for the costume, but you're not getting the costume here. When summoned, the sigil minion gives 20% mana generation for its owner, as long as it has sigil minions. So you're just going to keep trying to speed up the rest of the team because of those minions. That's not bad. Second mana charge is a fiend, damaging 100% attack every turn, and 38% mana generation down for the enemies as long as they have that fiend. Willow is a character that I got early on, and I really wanted her to be better than she is. There are some good things about her. The first mana charge is just not very good, unfortunately, and that's the case with a lot of Magic Tower heroes with these 2 mana charge different skills. You really want both of them to be good, and first mana charge for Willow is 175% damage to all enemies. Dispels status effect buffs that affect defense, but only defense. Man, if that were fast speed dispel. It'd be awesome. And all enemies are immune to new status effect buffs that affect defense for 3 turns. It's okay. The second mana charge is totally different and really pretty good. All allies bypass defensive buffs with their attacks for 5 turns, receive damage by 45% for 5 turns, and then counterattack with 115% of the damage received for 5 turns. So you're going to reduce the damage that actually gets to you, but that original damage before the damage reduction is going to be multiplied by 1.15 and hit back to the enemies. I've wiped out a lot of people using Willow, but you have to be really patient to get her all the way up to second mana charge, and Rush War doesn't help either, because that very fast speed thing with Rush War only gets you to the first mana charge. So that's Willow's downfall. Otherwise not a bad hero. Finally, we get Jet. And I think Jet was really just kind of a magic family hero that just never did much. 290% damage to 1, who also receives poison damage. And the caster absorbs that poison damage as health. That first mana charge special is just not very good. Second mana charge is not bad. 300% damage to all enemies. You'd like to see more than that for a second mana charge, which is basically a slow speed special. 1110 poison damage over 5 turns. That's a long time. It's just 200 and change per turn. But the caster and all their allies absorb 30% of that dealt poison damage as health. So that's Jet. Not my favorite magic family hero. Another way to look at this list: who can you hero coach right away? A lot of these older heroes, if you've got somebody newer and shinier, you don't want to sink all the time and the feeders and the food and the ascension materials into leveling them up. But if you can just do it for, a handful of gems, maybe that makes it worth it. Well, almost everybody here is available for hero coach. The entire first row is hero coachable. The second row is hero coachable in Neema and Leadria. Gladius will be available in March, which is the next iteration of hero coach anyway. Aviana not till June. Sir Casmir not until September. In the next row, Daemon will be available the next hero coach, as will Teddy, Quinton, Wolfgang. Cecilia not until June. Final row, Aeron will be available in June for hero coach. Everybody else, Reelius, Ulius, Willow and Jet, available for hero coach in its next iteration, which is, unless anything happens weird with their scheduling, going to happen at the end of March. Another angle to look at all of this is the ones that have costumes are much, much stronger. These Underwild family heroes, even with their costumes, are pretty far off the mark from the most current. But you could get Elizabeth hero coached and Visiting Outfitter, which is happening very, very soon. Her costume is available in Visiting Outfitter. That whole row except for Congalach. Congalach is going to be available in April in the Visiting Outfitter. Through the rest of this list, not everybody has a costume. There's only a costume available for Wolfgang, which will be available in July in the Visiting Outfitter. And then Ulius, who just came out with a costume, so that that costume won't be available in Outfitter until summer of 2027. So don't get, I mean, you could still get Ulius, I guess, but don't get him thinking you're going to get that that costume anytime soon. Because if you just happen to pull him from Magic Tower, you're going to get the hero and the costume anyway. So those two angles may be helping you to make a choice. Now let's just take a look at based on color. Depending upon where you are in the game, you may be thinking, well, I have the materials to level up this color, or I'm not leveling anybody up, or I don't even have a 5-star hero in this color. If you need red, you've got two very good choices with Daemon and Aeron. I think you can't go wrong. In green, the very obvious choice is Reelius. Everybody else to me is far off the mark. In blue, I'm torn. I kind of like Ulius's special. But then again, it's all about hoping for that costume there. If you really need to grab a blue one, it might be Quinton, and Quinton's stats are horribly low. But again, he's fast speed. If you can just get his special off once before he dies, you are going to be able to take out one hero on that enemy team. If you need a yellow hero, I'm torn. I don't think Aviana's great, but the buff immunity and the critical chance is kind of nice. That can be useful. And Willow, gosh, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Willow. The counterattack could be useful, right? Or maybe most of these people are just soul exchange fodder. Wolfgang, I'd say, if you have the costume, but then again, if you have the costume, you have the original card, do you need another one? I don't think he's strong enough, even with pretty current stats, to warrant two in your roster. So I'd say Aviana or Willow. But do you actually level them up and use them? I don't know. If you could use a purple hero, I think the clear choice is Cecilia. Damages all and gives everybody a chance to dodge. That's not a bad special skill at all. And her low stats are still serviceable, I think. Finally, let's just actually count these heroes down. Again, if you are just starting out in the game, you don't have a very big roster, maybe several of these you would level up and could help you out quite a bit. And with Hero Coach available and other stuff, that can help jumpstart your experience in this game. I've been in the game for a long time. I don't have the biggest roster, but I have enough to get by, for sure. So, as I'm looking at these, I really see a handful that I would actually level up. And then most of them just filling spots in my roster and then eventually be traded in for soul exchange, quite honestly. So, my top 5 that I would most likely level up are, I'll say number 5 is Cecilia. I already have Cecilia, so I won't be grabbing her. But for anybody, that chance to dodge is pretty nice. That'll always be a useful skill. My number 4 is Quinton. Again, super low stats, but marking one enemy for death is pretty nice. So those two are in my top 5, but they're maybe on leveling up, quite honestly. The top 3, I think I would and probably will level up at some point. I'll put number 3 as Reelius, the average speed reviver plus healer, plus give everybody a little bit of protection with that Moonrise ward. Stats are a little bit low, but a fairly usable character, especially for free. Number two is who I already grabbed. It's Aeron. I love the mindless mindless attack, and the shifting mindless attack as it just keeps going to different enemies is pretty great. Number 1, I didn't grab him first because I already have him. I already took him in soul exchange for 20 souls, so I'm still a little bit bitter about that. If he were offered in the next Fated Summon, it wouldn't be such a hard blow to take, but Daemon is my number 1 pick in this list. I think for free, he's very usable hero to shut down one really tough enemy who's going to get a buff or give a ailment to you that you really don't want to get. Shut him down. Hit him in 2 tile matches with Daemon. So those are my thoughts, everybody. Trying to put a couple of different windows on how to interpret this. Let me know down below what you think about the list. Who is your first pick? And any other comments you'd like to drop. If you have questions about your particular situation and who you think you should pick first, let me know that as well. I'd be happy to weigh in with my thoughts. Thanks for watching the video today, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time.